Hi again, my name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today I'm going to be doing my what sold for last week, Monday through Thursday, which was March 28th through the 31st. If you're new to my channel, I have been selling on eBay for 23 years last month. I've basically been full-time for as long as I can remember. I would work for a while and then do eBay for a while full-time, and then I'd work for a little while. I've been a teacher. I have worked for the state of Tennessee, but I think 2013 I decided I wanted to really turn this into a full-time business with Robert, and I haven't looked back. This is our primary income, so there's a lot of hustle to this. Just got to make sure I can pay my bills, right? Which is why I source a lot. The niche that I've chosen for the most part are vintage toys, specifically stuffed animals. So I do list a lot of that because they are what some people would call long tail. They take a while to sell, but I have almost 9,000 listings. So, I have the volume to go ahead, and I still make enough to pay our bills each month with a little more. All right, my wall's filling up here. I actually went to a couple of estate sales today, some yard sales, and then while we were at an estate sale, somebody told us that there was a rummage sale at a church that was like 10 miles down the road. So we went out there and I found 3 more things to go up there. So I'm happy. Right now, none of it's listed. I'm contemplating whether I'll list it and still display it, or if I'm just going to keep admiring it for myself for a while. Probably the latter. Last week was slow, but since last week, since like the weekend, my sales have been amazing. Everything is just, I decided to quit ending my listings and doing sell similar. But I did decide to increase my promoted listings to trending with a cap at 10%. Who knows if this is what has changed the algorithm for me, but my sales have increased pretty significantly to the point where I'm no longer like 10, 15, 20% under from last month. This morning I was actually, it was in the green. I was like 2% better. So I'm thrilled with that. But even better yet, my Posh sales have grown tremendously. I think I'm in the 700 some listings there, and I'm getting 2 and 3 sales a day, it seems. And it's not just clothes, it's toys, it's hard goods, it's everything. Unfortunately, none of this is going to show on this last week's stuff because it just started like happening over the weekend, and then it's just kept going. I have been trying to every day cross list to Poshmark, to Etsy, to Mercari, and to Facebook. My Facebook sales have picked up. I've made a couple of Mercari sales. Of course, I've made a few Etsy, but I don't have that much listed on Etsy, so that's okay. But Bonanza is dead. I have gone in there several times to see if I can figure out why. I haven't sold anything on Bonanza since the beginning of last month. So I'm just not quite sure what's going on there. Let me go ahead and get this started. I'll start this by saying I am going to show you one clothing sale just because I loved it. But I did sell like 5 more things. So I think I'm actually at this point selling as much on Posh as far as clothes as I am on eBay. So I am very motivated to get a whole lot of stuff on Posh because, right now, like today I mailed 3, yesterday I mailed 3, I think the day before that I mailed 3 or 4. So, I'm thrilled. All right, let's get started on this stuff though. I only have eBay and one Posh though to share on this video. I show you guys, I sold stuff on Facebook over the weekend, but I usually show them for Monday because that's when I ship them. So they'll be on the next video. All right, first item. It's a lot of littles, but that's okay with one big. This is How to Train Your Dragon. This was Hiccup little figure from 2014. I love to pick up the smalls. I talk about them quite often at the Goodwill bins. I mean, you're paying pennies for them. And you know what? This sold for $8.23 for something that I have pennies in. So I'm all about picking up the smalls. This is Disney Puppy Dog Pals. Her name is Kaya. Again, sold her for $9.15. Just something at the bins I would have probably paid less than a quarter for. This has been listed for a really, really long time. I can't tell you. I actually have something else that sold this past week, but I'll tell you the story when I get to it. I know I was living in this house when I got it. So it's been, got it at the Goodwill bins in Asheville. So maybe 8 or 9 years this has been listed. But it is a Catco Stuffin' Puffs Cabbage Patch Kids doll. 20-inch. It's like a big old pillow. And I've just dropped the price. And it finally sold at $9.15. This is Animal Adventure. Again, I probably picked it up at the Goodwill bins, but I have been sourcing so much, a lot of this I'm not going to be able to keep straight in my brain. This was a Lovey plush from 2018, little 8-inch elephant, and I took a best offer of $20 for it. Robert picked this up recently at an estate sale. It's a Kenneth Cole wallet. It didn't look used, so I put in the listing that it appears unused, but I still always list my stuff as pre-owned, especially if I'm picking it up at an estate sale or a thrift store. Very seldom do I mark stuff new. And this sold, I think, like the same day I listed it. I took a best offer of $10.50 for it, and he paid $1. Somehow we've gotten on the wrong picture. That's weird. It's upside down. Alright, we'll just go with that picture. This is Burt's Bees. I picked up 2 of these, I think recently at a consignment sale. I think I paid $1 or $2 for it, and this one sold for $11.91. This is Fisher-Price Snug-a-Monkey Monkey Plush. There's several of these in the series. There's some with orange, some with green, a couple of different types of monkeys, but they're all usually referred to as Snug-a-Monkey. This one's from 2012, and he sold for $11.91. This is the thing. Many years ago, I am positive my son, who is going to be 18 years old this year, was a baby when I went to my first auction at a home. It was just one of those where you bought by the box lot. That day I bought enough to fill a vehicle, and I paid like $200 and some, but it was almost all vintage toys. It was just the most amazing experience I've had. I mean, I got so many vintage toys there, but I truly think this is the last thing that was listed from there, but I can't promise because it's basically listed and forget it. At one point, I think it did drop off, and I had to redo the pictures because that background is one of my not newest setups, but probably the setup before this last one. And it finally sold for $6.39. But it was just this old Hasbro Hickory Dickory clock pounding toy from 1972. It's all right though. This, I talk about Garanimals a lot. I like Garanimals, but most of them are bread and butter for me. This is the Zebra Lovey. I find it probably a couple of times a year. And, you know, a lot of times the satin side of a lot of these Loveys have wear. So I usually just put in the listings that the satin side does have wear / snags, just so that they know that it's not in mint condition. But a lot of times these are being bought by parents for either a lost Lovey or a backup to one that is starting to really show significant wear. And I sold it for $13.75. This is just a vintage duck plush. It sits about 8 inches tall, but it was one of those type, if you shook it up and down, it made that whooping chirp sound. So you got to make sure when you find these that you do not wash them, because that will ruin that thing that's inside of them that makes the sound. Luckily for me, this one I think just needed some light cleaning. And it sold for best offer of $10. This is the last of the counted cross stitch sets that I bought last year. I bought, I think, 9 of them for $50. I think I sold one of them last week, and then this was the last of these, and I sold it for best offer of $18, and I think it was going to England. This is, I find this brand once in a while, Anico. Not quite sure what that company is. It's, I think, a nice quality though. You know, this dog, you know, is in excellent condition and just quality. And he sold for best offer of $10 also. I'm all about the $10 plush, because think about it. If it's from the bins, you know, pennies in it. Otherwise, it's like $1 or less at yard sales. This I picked up, I think, last year at a consignment sale. So I probably paid $2 or $3 for it. I picked up a couple of them, and this is the last one. This is by Nursery Rhymes. It's a baby blanket that just had the scalloped edges and dots on it. And it sold for $12.95. This is from House of Lloyd, which is also the company that does Christmas Around the World that I talk about. I love picking up stuff. In fact, I think I picked up a couple of items today at that church rummage sale. This is Snuggles Bear, and it glows in the dark. 11 inches. I think I picked this up at the Goodwill bin, so I have, again, less than $1 in it, and it sold for $27.55. I've picked this up a couple of times, so I know to watch for it. I think I picked this also up at the Goodwill bins. I think it was mixed in with the Constructs, Fisher-Price Constructs blocks that I picked up the last time we went to, or the time before this last trip to St. Louis. I had to do some digging on this, because at first I thought it was Little People, the hoses that went to the clown car, and then I realized, no, it's not it. Then I found out that it goes to the Adventure People, which are from like the 70s. It was the hose that went with one of the space shuttle vehicles, and it sold for $13.75. These I also picked up the last time we went to St. Louis. These are Kenner Littlest Pet Shops. These are the vintage ones from like the 90s. Hasbro now does the Littlest Pet Shops. This was very cute little monkey. It sitting in a, you know, a little hammock in its little scene. I think there was a whole series of these that went to like zoo enclosures. It was missing some of the accessories, or I could have gotten a whole lot more for it. But he sold for $13.75. This is Animal Adventure. Love the brand. This is just a large pink bear from 2019, and it sold for $11.91. This is Banpresto. It's a Nico Atsumi plush cat. 5-inch, had a little keychain thing on its head. I think I used Google Lens to figure out who it was, and that's how I used it to get the comps on. And it sold for $13.75, but it was little. This is the one clothing item I had to share. Even here in northeast Tennessee, I found a Hilo Hattie dress wrap, you know, from Hawaii. And I thought, you know, I'll go ahead and list it. If it had been my size, I might have kept it just because. Maybe I could have done something with it over the summer, but I did end up taking a best offer on it of $24. Somebody went on a trip and brought the dress back, and then I bought it probably at a yard sale. This, I've talked about this particular cat in a haul. This is a Webkinz, but it's from the Signature series, and you'll always know the Signature series because their paw will have a, right there, that golden W instead of like the multicolored W. Some of the Signature series animals go for big bucks. I think they're Huskies and German Shepherds and stuff that go in the hundreds. But not bad. Didn't have its code, and I still sold it for a best offer of $30. And again, I picked this up at the Goodwill bins. Little People. These are what I call the heavies. You know, one of the newer ones. I don't think they're as popular. Usually I'll put these two together and list them for like $9.95. But I took a best offer on these for $7.25. But again, I've got pennies in them, and I pick up all Little People and do this type of stuff with them. And they sell very quickly. I have a small tote that's just for Little People, and I never have that much in there. These, I went to an estate sale probably 2 summers ago and bought a huge lot of HO scale buildings and just models. But it wasn't the trains or the tracks. It was just all the stuff, the other stuff, the buildings. They were all from Europe. There was a lot of Merton, and I can't even remember the other brands, but I bought a bunch, and I paid, I think, $100 or $150 for it. But I mean, it filled these tables, like 2 of them in a row. I laid them all out and then just meticulously listed each model, and it was a nightmare, but I made a lot of profit on it. But this was the last piece to it, and I had stored all of the last of the models in just one little area in my storage, and I had to go get something out of that box, and I saw that, and I thought, I don't remember seeing a listing for it. So I went and looked, and sure enough, it was one of those listings that somehow got dropped. These were called the Happy Drunkards. Now, I mean, seriously, these figures are like this big. Relisted it, took my pictures, relisted it, and it sold probably within a couple of weeks for $13.75. But I think I'm officially done with all of that. I mean, some of the pieces were enormous, like just huge buildings, and Robert packed them for me. But you know, some of them were selling for in the hundreds of dollars. It was an amazing find. This is Fisher-Price Little People. I picked up a whole bunch of the Disney characters on both of our last sourcing trips to St. Louis. This was a Mickey Mouse. When he sat in his car and you moved the car, it like moved him so it looked like he was waving. It sold for $18.35. So definitely keep your eyes open for the Disney Little People. This was ours. We bought the Catan game, and then eventually the extension, and then we hardly played it. It just kind of sat on a shelf. The boys are at ages, they've got jobs, everybody's going, and I just decided we were cleaning up one day, and I just took a whole pile of some of the games that we just haven't played anymore. In fact, we hadn't even punched some of the extension stuff. But I think I know we paid more than this for that, but that's okay. It did sell for $45.95, so I got some of my money back. Somebody asked me in my comments, and I'm going to work on my comments later today, but they asked if I removed the clothes from Build-A-Bears that I pick up. Usually, yes. Not always, especially if that outfit goes with that bear, but if it's just a dressed animal, then more than likely I will take the clothes off. This I think was on a panda bear that I picked up recently. Removed it and sold within just a few days for $10. So I wouldn't probably have gotten, usually I list my plush for like $10, you know, and they usually sell for like 8 to 10. I probably wouldn't have got, you know, double that price, or, you know, add the $10 to the bear price. I probably wouldn't have got that. So it's, I think a lot of times, especially if you've got like a complete outfit, to go ahead and list it separate. I've picked this up a couple of times. This is a Marshawn, my baby puppy dog. His tongue moves when you do a little knob on his back. It's from 1992 and it sold for $13.75. I pick up all unique plush, but I knew to pick this up. Again, another smalls. This is a Fisher-Price Shake and Go vehicle from 2005. It's just one of those vehicles, you shake it, it makes noise, and then when you set it down, it takes off. Usually I'll list these in small lots. I don't think I had one, so again, it was one of those, I'm going to go ahead and list it. If I find more to go with it, I'll, you know, up and, you know, change the picture and up the price. But this sold pretty quickly for the $8.23. This is Sesame Street Cookie Monster. It is from Hasbro, 2014. It's the one with the hard plastic eyes. He sold for best offer of $11. This is Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. This is the trolley with the sounds, and it does move. You know, I tested it. I don't think I have the video for this. I hadn't started using videos in my listings yet. I am trying to go back and start doing more of them in the listings because, like I said, when I take pictures of things to list, if it does something, I have always recorded just a snippet of it. So I'm just trying to go back at some point and I'll get them on YouTube and then I'll get them transferred over in here. But I do think it's going to help sell things better because people can see that it did work. I did sell this Daniel trolley for $9.15. This is from Inner American Products. You know, there for a while I was finding quite a bit of that, and then I haven't found any for a while. But I think just in the last week or so I found a few more of them. I like the product. It kind of reminds me of Dandy or Kelly Toy, just in the quality and how they look. But this dog sold for $12.95. Christmas, still selling in April. I forgot what month we were in. I picked this up at an estate sale. This is a Miss Dollykin doll. I didn't know any of this when I purchased it. She is by Unita. Just kind of looked like a really chintzy Barbie. But it was old and it was in decent condition, and I'm assuming that was her original clothes. But she had like these rubber bands to hold the arms and the legs and everything together. I paid $3 for her, and she sold for $18.95. This is from the online estate sale that I did through HiBid. I'm selling, some of the baskets are getting, you know, decreasing in size, so a lot of it is selling. I may have to go in there at some point because it's been almost a year since I listed all of it, and maybe start decreasing the prices a little bit. This one was from 2007. I bought a whole lot of Shony Bears, and I've been listing them in small lots, but this one was still in its original bag, and he sold for best offer of $15. This is from Gund. This is Guy Smiley from Sesame Street. I think his tag was cut off, but Google Lens is always going to help you on stuff like this. Very small, 7-inch. He sold for best offer of $8. This is Walgreens. I don't think I found any like this, so I just kind of threw one of my prices on there, $19.95, and it sold the same day. So definitely, I do well with the Walgreens plush because I guess there may be Walgreens exclusives, and you know, once they're no longer being made, parents have to go to eBay to find this kind of stuff. But it was just a Lovey. Love Loveys. And here's my big sale for last week, Monday through Thursday. We went to an estate sale, and these were sitting just in a basket. These are blow mold eggs. 3 of them were dated 1998 by Grand Venture. They're 8 inches. They were like half full of some kind of gray powdery stuff. It almost to me looked like concrete mix, but not wet. So I had to shake all of them out. It was and all over. The wind would move and it would be all in my face. But when I asked her how much, she says, if you take all of them, I'll charge you 50 cents each. So I paid $4 for the 8 blow mold eggs. And I took a best offer of $70 for them. I think for the most part, like singles were selling for like $8 to $10. I kind of went on the higher side. But again, as soon as people start showing me interest, I had some lowball offers in like the 20s. But I thought 70 was reasonable and sent it on its way. And then Posh. Just, again, another Hawaiian type item. This is Ocean and Coast short sleeve men's shirt. Sold it for $15 on Posh. But since then, my Posh sales have been crazy. If I could have almost all 9,000 of my listings on there, it might give eBay a run for its money. But we'll see, because eBay's, everything starts on eBay for me. Everything. And then I cross list using List Perfectly. If you want to consider using List Perfectly, I do have a code down in the bottom. I think it gets you like 30% off your first month. So definitely, Robert sets all this stuff up for me, but I think it's the Rebel Reseller is the code. One word, no caps. But if I'm wrong, I'm sure Robert will have something somewhere saying, no, don't use that code. All right. I'm going to close this. I need to get a haul done today. I have been diligently going through some of my death piles trying to get stuff condensed. How about that? Because right now it's kind of here, there, and over there, and I'm trying to get stuff in my booth. All right. Let's all get to work, right? Bye.